are very, very honored and pleased to have another amazing innovator, institutional, if I may say, institutional innovator here with us. Today is with us Michele Lemmens. She's the Chief Transformation Officer of Tata Consulting Services. I love the title, Chief Transformation Officer. Maybe that can be my next title too here. And Tata Consulting Services is just one group of the Tata Group, but it's the biggest one. So Michele is the transformation officer for more than 600,000, right? 600,000 employees, and she's responsible to champion innovations and sustainability initiatives, so really walking the talk in Tata Consulting Services for, I think, also Tata Group as a whole. So she will share with us today her experiences and the journey to drive this kind of innovation. She will share some examples with us from Tata Consulting Services and to kind of kick us off and to understand a bit what Tata Consulting Services is doing. We are watching a short video.
Wonderful. My goodness, look at everybody. Great pleasure to be with you this afternoon, and thank you so much for the opportunity. There's been some fantastic insights today, whether it be lifelong learning, whether it be talking about the role of ecosystems, or even talking about the importance of voice of youth and how do we bring youth into this equation, both from an innovation perspective and, of course, for me, sustainability. But before I jump into the presentation, I'm going to ask you all to get up. Everybody, up. Excellent. Thank you. Right. So, everybody, shoulders up. We're in the after lunch slot. So, shoulders up as far as you can. I can't see everybody putting the shoulders up. Okay, now push them down as far as you can. Hard, hard, hard. Some rolls. Excellent. You can sit down now. Looking after the health and safety of everybody. And I've got one more thing before I jump into the presentation. So we've talked a little about different aspects of our roles and the different roles that we need. So I'm going to digress for one more minute. I'm going to ask those of you who've been actively involved in sport. You might be walking, you might be in a team, you might be yoga aficionados. Stick your hand up really high. Taking a look, pretty much everybody in the room almost, and you might not even know it because walking in this building, I think, counts as a lot of steps. Thank you very much. What I wanted to do is use that as a bit of a digression to talk about when we think about individual sports or team sports, what are the roles that make that work? What are the roles that actually build success? So we've got nutritionists, we've got coaches, we've got masseuses, we've got pace setters. We've got a whole bunch of different roles that bring together and have to build the success. And if I take that across to innovation, I'll ask you guys another question. How many of you have got innovation in your title? How many's heading? Oh, Vivek. Okay, we've got one. You don't count? Well, how many people? Two. Great. Yell out what's the title? if you've got innovation in your title? Fantastic. Anybody else? Then you've got the qualification, right? Then you've got those who qualify. The point being, hardly any of us have innovation in our titles, right? And yet, it's actually a role that we believe at TCS is something that everybody plays a role in. You don't have to have it in your title. It doesn't have to be in your job description. You don't have to be in the department. And in fact, if that's the only place that innovation gets done, we've already got trouble as a company. And so I wanted to talk about that as a multi-stakeholder. So at TCS, we believe we all have a role to play in innovation. We're all really unique. We bring different mindsets, different perspectives, different passions that inspire and get us to think about the models that we use and the way that we communicate and the way that we think about our futures differently. And so at TCS, we believe innovation is a critical skill for future-fit, resilient businesses. And we believe that each of us have a role, and in that role, I'd like to share a little bit more with you today. Wonderful. And so if we look at that, we've got a couple of things. We talk about collective knowledge and innovation going together. And we see that that collective action can go hand in hand. And we talk about business. So we talk about competitive advantage. We all know technology is a major opportunity for technology advancement. We talk about it with competition and we talk about it with staying relevant. But at TCS, she says, there you go, we also think that technology and innovation go with creating value for the people and the planet. And we think rethinking those business models, bringing sustainability together. So prosperity is great, but has to coexist with enhancing the value that we contribute to the people and the planet. So I've been told you guys all have apps on your phones to help with questions. Yeah? So I'm going to ask you to grab your app, or grab your phone probably, and open up your app, because we've got a bit of a question. This isn't going to be a passive type engagement here, everybody. So for those of you who are online, it would be great to have your help as well. But let's have a look at this question. So, and I want to get your thoughts. So for a minute, take a look at this. So McKinsey survey said 84% of CEOs thought that innovation was critical to growth. Excellent. Really quickly, which one do you think of these is correct? We've got one extreme through to quite a different extreme at the other end. So just take a few moments and let's see that building. Wonderful. We've got 22% building. Got C coming through. I'll give you another 10 seconds. Quick, put your answers in. And let's close it. Wonderful. And actually, the one that jumped up at the end was the 6%. And that is the... Through? We can't show them both at the same time, guys. So 6% is the answer. 84 to 6. That's quite a significant difference, which shows the level of magnitude we still have to try to achieve. So 84% of CEOs thought it was really critical. 6% are satisfied with the progress that they've been making to date. And so I've talked a little bit about innovation and the need for innovation. And I then wanted to talk, I don't know why I'm not managing to do this right. Someone help me with this, click it to the next one. Oh, there you go. So let me talk to you a little bit about Tata. They managed to do that in 2 minutes, which would have taken me a very long time to say, so I saved you a lot of time. So, summary, 1868, 30 companies, 10 sectors, over 125 billion revenues USD, and 900,000 employees. Tata, it does a lot of different things in a lot of different places, and TCS is the digital transformation and infrastructure and business process arm that delivers to our leading companies globally. So let me move from there. Right, I can get it to work now. So I wanted to give you a couple of examples of Tata before I move to TCS. And the Tata examples that I wanted to call out were things like chemicals. And for those of us who were at the lunch today, we were talking about waste to wealth. And this is a really good example. So we were talking about lithium-ion batteries. How do we reduce the impact? By finding a way to recycle, and I'll use that word but how do we find a way to leverage the raw materials and bring them back into the cycle earlier? CPG, so if you think about Tetley teas, or you think about Tata teas, some of the packaging that they use, looking to break that back down and get back to natural and remove some of the plastics and multi-laminate packaging. And then if we look at steel, I don't know if you guys knew this, steel is the most recycled product in the world. And therefore, when we look at that, how do we bring that forward? So I'm going to then move on to how do we bring innovation, apart from the examples that you've seen, into the company? And so Innovista is one of those platforms that we use. And it's a platform that runs across all of the different companies. You can see that they, on average, at least bring 100 ideas in. For TCS, we brought in 12,000 last year. Gives you a little bit of idea of the scale. But we only had 225 get through to the final program. The program has a lot of layers and a lot of rigor, but what it tries to do is make sure that people look to build that innovation in terms of their jobs every day. But then we get to celebrate it. And that celebration and explanation and collaboration across the companies is one of the key benefits that comes through. And you'll see our one of our founders and chairman has said that it's about questioning and it's about being open to thinking about things in different ways. And so if I then look to another poll, because I wanted to get you guys active after lunch. So get your apps again, get ready. This one's much easier. Again, a McKinsey-led question. But let's talk about innovation and the role of technology. And so percentage of employees that think their work will be disrupted by technology. Have a quick crack. Not a difficult one. Hopefully this one's pretty straightforward. Be good to see the responses that are coming in, if we can. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's give it another 10 seconds, see how it changes, because they're all going up and down quite a lot at the moment. Wonderful. Let's close that off. Thank you very much, everybody who's participating. So we can see 50%. Okay. So the last one, the answer is D. And so if we think about this huge amount of disruption from our daily lives, TCS talks about digital first, and looking at that and looking at the way that we bring digital into our lives, and it's really having significant disruption as we move forward. So this is a very busy slide. It should have built, but it hasn't. So if I go with the black writing on the outside, so ignore the bits in the middle. The black writing on the outside talks about some of the themes that we bring into our sustainability and the way that we think about sustainability at TCS. First off, it has to be business-centric. So you'll notice that business concept. So we can innovate with blockchain and you name it, we can find different technology. But unless it's trying to solve a business problem or a business challenge that we understand, then it's kind of nice to do, but not overly relevant. So that business challenge, ecosystem, when we look to do innovation, we look to bring multiple players, and that's not just inside the company. That may be academic, it may be startup, it may be customers, it may be students. But how do we change that way? And by doing that, we bring diversity of thought into the mix when we're talking about innovation. Because bringing the same people around the table and asking them to be creative is pretty hard. So you have to bring new thinking into that. Another one on that outside is really about two things that I wanted to touch on before I move to the middle. One's around Executive Connect. And so that recognition of both the people who are involved in it, the ideas that come up, the competitions around them are really critical to our executives, because it's part of what we do every day with our customers. And then there's one more, which is defining the problem statement. And there was a discussion earlier this morning about always having problems. What we find in our experience is actually we're too quick to define what the problem is. And actually it really is the problem. And so I'm going to talk to you about a different program that we run that actually digs into that. And so if I keep going, I think that, sorry, I won't. I want to go back to the ones that were in the middle. Wonderful. So along with those themes on the outside, then we have a lot of mechanisms that we use to drive innovation throughout our organisation. You'll see a couple of them there that I wanted to touch on. One is clay maps, and it's an approach which really looks at how do we innovate in today, how do we innovate in same customer base but new markets maybe, or new markets and different customer base, or actually just new. So we're used to a quadrant, many of us work in quadrants, but how do we push the innovations up from the bottom right quarter, which is often the existing products, existing customers, existing markets, to think about new markets and new customers, but also new innovations, and do that aligned with our customer strategies and their direction of where they're going. Another one is the champions. When you're trying to bring about transformation in an organisation, we've found for TCS that we have innovation champions in our accounts, and the really important role is they have that hat. It's their role to shake things. It's their role to ask that question. It doesn't mean that the rest of the team are also not responsible, but they wear that as a hat that they know that they have a responsibility to hold and drive that change. And then I think there's two other ones. One is the pace sport. You've created a fantastic environment. And having that environment for people to collaborate, both from an ecosystem and a customer perspective, along with the teams, is really important. You build in the capabilities and the skill sets to help innovate. And our pace sports are centred around the world, and Singapore's getting one very soon. But at the moment we're in a couple of US, we're in Japan, we're in Amsterdam, and a couple of other places. Now, they will be very selective, but they're an important mechanism to engage and help demonstrate the thinking that's required to do things differently. And then the last one, we were talking about transformation projects at lunch, changing the way that we approach transformation. So that agile component where we're rapidly rethinking and trialling and testing is part of that critical environment. So there's a couple of examples that I just very briefly, I'm just going to race over here. Timer on me. So in case I'm going over, then let me know, yeah? So there was a couple of things that I wanted to just share with you. One is an incubation boot camp. So I've talked about lots of different things, but this year we started internally, we run with our customers a lot of incubations, but we haven't run a large 16-week program of incubation for ourselves. And so this year we had about 4 themes. One of those was sustainability. And of the 12 projects that got up, 6 of them are sustainability, and some of them are bioremediation for industrial waste. Some of them are around green IT, and how do you bring software and operations and development into a different light, bearing in mind the green economy. And another one of them was a plastics ecosystem. How do we build that and value that to go forward? Another example I wanted to call out is Digital Impact Squared. So this is part of the TCS Foundation, and it's run out of Nasik. It's special for a couple of reasons. One, it's based around social innovation, and it brings together students at the end of where they've graduated, and they want to kind of look at social entrepreneurship and social innovation. So we bring them in for up to 18 months. They develop new ideas and incubations, and the comment I made earlier about solving the right social problem, that's really that first stage. How do we help them understand they want to solve social problems? How do we help them really understand what the underlying one is? Then we take them through a program where they get access to experts, whether that be technology, design thinking, many other aspects, so that they actually build their business. Out of the program comes 3 things. One, somebody who knows how to problem solve in quite a sophisticated way. Second, people who actually decide that their career now is going to be social entrepreneurship, and they actually are out there to solve and build social solutions for problems. And the third is that they end up with businesses that they launch and get investors for and take to the next level. So it's a really interesting platform that we then also partnered with Petronas in Malaysia to bring that capability through to them. And this is a great example of building that extended ecosystem where we are actually partnering with Petronas to help solve youth unemployment. And somebody mentioned that that was a real problem. For Malaysia it was. We helped them build the skill. We ran the first cohort the year before, and they're in the throes of finalising the second cohort. All the IP and all the capability that comes out belongs to those people who've participated in it. It's nothing to do with TCS or Petronas at the end of the day, but it's about bringing that ecosystem together to help them succeed. There's many other examples, but I would rather get us to... I'll just talk about one more, and that's Sustainathon. And Sustainathon, in its essence, brings in lots of different players, from the students who look to solve social problems, through to our ecosystem. For us, it's our customers. And then we bring in also not-for-profits. The first time we ran it was around food waste in Singapore. The next year that we ran it, it was with Singapore and Philippines and Malaysia, and ADB was part of that, and we worked on education. The outcome of all of that is, number one, engaging the youth and giving them a voice and helping them solve problems, but it's also about helping people understand the ecosystem and how it comes together and how you cannot get problems solved by just bringing a single party around the table. So, probably the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about was about our co-innovation network. So I've talked to you a little bit about the things that we do internally and the things that we do with our customers. This is then how we work with our networks and our co-innovation network to bring about change. So first off, you can see on the left-hand side, you're talking about academia. So we have relationships with many different players in the world, which I'll bring that one up. Everyone from Cornell to universities in Japan and if I go more regionally, we've got SMU that we worked with recently, and we're looking to build some new relationships as well. And also Deakin in Australia, just to name a couple. The other thing that we work with is bringing startups into the ecosystem, and that's just not about bringing capability, it's about bringing to the table a startup ecosystem that our customers want to engage with. So if I'm dealing with a bank, what are the challenges that they have that the startup community might be addressing? Can I bring some of those into my network and help do two things? One is help introduce them to corporates, which help them refine their solution more. But the second part is we help them becoming better prepared to do their pitches, but also becoming enterprise ready. And then the third part is then working with some of our customers in this co-innovation network. So bringing our customers, our startups, our academics together to problem solve. And so there's one on there, which is, I mentioned Seed Labs. There's another one in there with Barclays, and that was a social innovation out of some of our rapid labs where we were looking to address youth with neuromuscular disabilities. And how can we use AI and machine learning and use that to learn the gestures and map them and help them be more productive and make the world more accessible for them? That's a really good example. And then, as is Fabibank, using agile mechanism to bring a bank to life, and I believe it was about 10 weeks. This is the last video, I promise. But what I wanted to do is show how this permeates, and so let me just play this one. Scale and the extent of the rethink that we need to do is beyond anything that I think we've experienced in our careers to date. and I'm getting lots of nods from around the room. Acceleration of technology is beyond anything that we've seen before, and the need to address the UN SDGs is really so that we have enough for all forever, requires such tremendous investment, and us all to rally together. Individually, we can't solve these problems. Paired with that, we have disruption and new entrants coming into areas which we'd never even deemed possible, and ecosystems that need to pull together. And so I just wanted to, I know we're all in this for innovation, but I wanted to pull a couple of things together. A couple of quick facts. The amount of spend per year that is estimated to require to achieve the SDGs by 2030. And you've got a comment that really the extent of technology and the belief of technology in actually solving some of those problems is really significant. And then talking about innovation as driving purchase decisions, right? And actually driving some of those, the purchase and retention for customers. Ecosystems, we've talked a lot about that, and banking in the US have got some particular comments about the playing field absolutely being ripped out as new technology entrants come in. We've talked about the life of companies and how actually the lifetime that used to be there 20 years ago even is reducing, so whereby the future resilience of an organisation is down to 18 years of the Standard & Poor's anyway. And then we talk about the shift in wealth to this part of the world, where 50% of the GDP wealth will be in this region. There's many other reasons for us to innovate, but if we think about it from this perspective, the extent of change that we have is phenomenal, and that requires all of us to be innovators. And so at TCS, we actually really do believe that we can build greater futures through working innovation and the power of collective knowledge. And I wanted to leave you with this quote by Christina, and it really captures in a nutshell some of the things that I think are really important. It talks about collective responsibility, and it talks about everybody being able to achieve their full potential. And I think really, as in a nutshell, that's why we're looking to work together with TCS and ADB to see what we can do to impact that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michele.
Should we thank you,
Yeah, please have a seat there. I know we are already a bit over time, but Michele, there is one question, I think, which is a very provocative and good one, and that question is coming from online. Could I ask about Tata sustainability performance? For sure, you make your business more sustainable, but can we actually say that manufacturing industry and industry itself can ever be sustainable? So is there some controversy?
Oh, there's always controversy. Look, that's a really good question. I think for every organization, it needs to be about a journey. Right? Can you see the journey of that company that's painted? Can you see a baseline? First off, do they actually clearly communicate the impact that they're having? Can you see that they've got a balanced approach to shareholder and environment and community and their staff? And are they reporting on those metrics? And then are they actually showing, as I mentioned, that journey? So what is the pathway? And then are they delivering on that? So if I take that for the Tata companies, especially the leading companies, you can see that. If I go for manufacturing per se, it is probably the biggest industry, that and the heavy manufacturing. They've got significant changes. But if I go back to Tata Steel, they're trying to find a way to green steel, which sounds quite ridiculous. But that's in terms of how they're firing the furnaces, through to the recyclability, and through to the way that it starts. So yeah,
I think
much like you do with cement.
I see this the connection there with sustainable procurement that we spoke today earlier today, right? Because I mean, same for ADB. We build things, so we need to make that more sustainable. And I think that's why we are so keen to collaborate with Tata, especially Tata Consulting Services, to create and support this ecosystem through our partner countries and investments. So thank you very much, Michele.